drunkish, my daughter, Elby Taylor.
Thank you. So excited to chat it up.
I wanted to have you on because you are in college, starting
That
your
I am.
senior year,
So excited.
and I feel like I wanted to talk about. I know that you and I have a lot of we have a pretty good relationship. I
Open
think
conversation.
open conversations. I think a lot of people know what their experience was going to college. And a lot of the women, especially that I talked to, and men, have told me that their drinking got, a lot of them felt like they got pretty out of control in college. M- Many of those people felt like they were under their parents' roof though during high school.
Yeah.
And so once they were in school, it was like all bets are off, and then they went really crazy. And some of those people went on to develop, um, real drinking problems. But tell me about, let's go back to like high school and what the vibe was as far as substances in high school.
Yeah, I feel like in high school it was like a little, I don't want to say like normalized, but like especially in I want to say like junior year, definitely by senior year, because that's like right before college, but like definitely junior year and like a little into sophomore year. I would say freshman year I had that one experience where everybody around me was drinking and I was like, "Oh, like I don't want to be here. Like I'm so uncomfortable. Like everybody's drunk. I'm not used to this." Because I was what, like 15 at the time, I want to say.
Yeah,
And I feel
14 or
like
15.
yeah, and I feel like at that point in high school it wasn't that normalized. Like that was something that I was not expecting to be in at all. Like but I feel like going into like sophomore year, some people were like dabbling with that, although it was a little bit hard because that was also COVID year. So like I wasn't really hearing that much because I was in such like a small little bubble where none of me and my friends like at my many hangouts that I'd have every other weekend, nobody was drinking. Like that was never the occasion of the function. So I'd never really gotten into it until like junior, senior year. I think the first time I drank was junior year, which I came right home and told you, hey, just letting you know, I had some alcohol. Just putting that out there, laying it all out on the table. But I feel like high school, it's definitely way different than college still. I feel like high school, it was more like nobody was really just like drinking every single weekend. Like I feel like it was more okay, like after homecoming, we're having a big party and like everyone there is for sure like there's going to be a lot of alcohol at this party and you would kind of like know that. But I feel like it wasn't until college where I was like, okay, there's going to be at least one day of the weekend that we're all going out and people are probably going to be drunk, if that makes sense.
Well, let me ask you this, and then I do want to hear all about the college stuff, but
Yeah.
since I know a lot of sober moms listen to this, and I'm wondering from your perspective, what it not what it was like to grow up with a sober mom, because you wouldn't know the difference, but my attitude towards alcohol and how I talk to you about drinking, helpful,
Yeah.
harmful, too
I
strict, too loose.
I think it was honestly very helpful. I really like appreciated almost having a sober parent because I felt like you didn't like villainize alcohol. Like you weren't like, you can't touch this. It's gonna ruin your life. Like stay away. Cause you know that it's like I felt like you made it very clear that it's very like person to person basis. But I felt like you always were really good at like making sure I was careful and understanding what like drinking responsibly looks like. And obviously I've had some experiences where I did not do that, but like I feel like I've never also I just feel like with the amount where you're like not like I never felt scared to tell you that I was like gonna drink because you always made it like very much an open space where you were like, I know you are going to. Obviously, you're a teenager, but if you do, and if you get into a situation where you're like not safe, not comfortable, like can confidently say that, like, regardless of every situation I've been in, I've never, ever, ever felt the need to drink and drive. I've never felt like I should get in a car with somebody that is drinking and driving, like, and I felt like I've always kind of, like, had a space from you where I'm, like, able to talk to you without feeling like I'm gonna get punished for, like, having teenage experiences, but also I know that you're not gonna be like, "Oh my god, you got super fucking hammered, like, that's okay. Do it again next week," you know? Like, I knew that you would be like, "Hey, let's try not to do that again by like, being more responsible with this," you know? Like, I felt like I've always just had, like, felt open with you, but not so much that I'm like, and also, I feel like we just talked about this the other day. I feel like it's, like, loose enough to where I've never felt the need to do it, like I said, behind your back. Like, I've never felt like I've had to go be, like, rebellious and get really drunk and not tell you just because I'm not allowed to drink. So I've never felt like I've had to be, like, hiding it all the time and being like, "Oh my god, like, I'm gonna do this without telling my mom, like, I'm a rule breaker, she doesn't have to know." You know?
Well, that was
It's
really
always been good.
important to me because, you know, but it's interesting because different moms have different perspectives on what they tell their
Yeah,
kids about their own past. But I always felt
totally.
like it was important, and not just with drinking or drug use or anything else, but I mean, but with other things, to
Yeah,
be open about like what my high school experience was like,
exactly.
which I've made very clear wasn't great. Like my drinking was way too much in high school, and
Right.
but also not to assume that, like, if somebody else is drinking a lot in high school that, like, "Oh my god, you're an
They're
alcohol you
gonna
have a problem."
exactly.
I'm trying yeah. So, how do you feel like that compares? Did you feel like some of your other friends too strict? Anything there?
I mean, like, from, like, a high school perspective, it's hard to say because I feel like a lot I mean, my friends' parents all had, like, very, like, varying strictness, you know? Like, I had some friends whose parents were like, "Absolutely not. Don't drink alcohol, don't touch alcohol." And I will say, like, for the most part, not that I feel like any of my friends were super, like, crazy rebellious and, like, bad kids, because like, I feel like I surrounded myself a lot of this and I'm sure you would agree with, like, mostly people that act similarly to me, but I will say there are, like, instances where my friends have been like, "Yeah, my parents, like, really don't want me to do this, so, like, we're gonna do it anyways, but, like, we can't say anything, like, we can't tell them." Like, I know I won't say who, but, like, we were drinking at my friend's house, and, like, you already knew what I was doing. Like, I had obviously been like, "Hey, I'm gonna, like, Uber here just in case," or maybe I asked you to drop me off or something, but I made it very clear, like, there's probably alcohol, and just in case, I don't wanna drive because I don't wanna put myself in a situation where I have to figure out if I should drive home, obviously. But when I got there, my friend was like, "Hey, we can drink this alcohol, it's totally fine, we can use it because my parents aren't here, but don't drink too much out of any of them because they actually don't know." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I helped her, like, clean off all the glasses because she was like, "It's fine, like, they're not gonna be like, 'Did you move this cup, like, an inch over?'" But she was like, "They are probably gonna notice if there's an entire bottle of tequila just, like, gone out of nowhere." Like, she's like, "We can just, like, switch between every once in a while, like, it's okay." And, like, she was not a bad kid at all, and I don't think she would ever be somebody that I would ever be concerned about, like, regarding alcohol or drugs. She's very much, like, not that type of person, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Not in a derogatory way, just, like, in general. But it was just funny because I noticed that, like, comparatively, like, her parents were a lot more like, "Don't drink," like, at the time they do now, but, like, I think at the time because it was in high school, they, like, didn't really know that she was drinking a lot. So it was just like that was like one of those little experiences where I did notice sometimes people were like, okay, like we can do this, but shh, like don't say anything. Whereas meanwhile, I'm like telling you, hey, do you want to drive me? Like, I don't want to drive off.
Well, because you knew I would be so excited to drive you anywhere. Just the mere
Of
fact that,
course.
like, oh my gosh, she's basically letting me know, like, I might have a drink. I might drink.
Yeah,
I don't want to have to drive home.
exactly.
And you knew I felt like, and you knew that I, and still do, and even with your younger siblings, feel like you can call me anytime. I
Of
will come and get
course.
you. Just do not ever get behind the wheel of a car. And by the
Totally.
way, I've driven drunk, and that's why I mean, there's no reason
Yeah,
for it.
of course.
I grew up with more strict parents, and it was not okay. And I just didn't want, yeah, it's hard as a parent to know. What were any kids, did you feel like doing anything out of control? I mean, not of your direct friends, because I would know
Yeah.
that, but
Oh, for sure. In high school, like there was definitely noticeably like even in high school, I would go to parties and stuff like after everything, like homecoming, prom, like blah 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 blah. And I feel like there was like some people that I wasn't really friends with, but people like from my high school, people that I knew, where I just noticed that they were just like absolutely hammered, sloshed at every single function without a doubt. Like there were like certain people that would be out that you wouldn't even like think about it. Like you would just know, dude, how drunk is this person gonna be tonight? Like who's gonna have to somebody's gonna have to be taking care of them, you know? And again, it wasn't anybody that I was even friends with. It was just people that I was like knew of and aware of and knew would be at the same place as me. And everybody would just be like, that person's gonna be super like we already know they're gonna be sloshed. And like it's obviously the same in college. Like there's people that I know that I'm like, oh my God, this person just like cannot have a single night where they're like not completely fucked up, you know?
yeah, so you start college and you started a little bit older because, for those that don't
Yeah.
know, you spent a year at community college, but only one
Woo.
year.
Yeah.
And in that year, you did socialize, obviously, but you were home a
Yeah.
lot and it wasn't like the greatest year. So then you started
Yeah.
college as a junior, but
Yes.
as a transfer student. So all of your friends were, a lot of them were juniors.
Yeah.
How do you feel the vibe? Well, first of all, I also wanted to ask you really quick before we move on to
Yeah.
college about
For
pot,
sure.
about marijuana.
Yes. Mary
So I
Jane,
feel like
marijuana, the za, that zaza, that good.
remember when you'd make fun of me because I couldn't pronounce a stizzy correctly? What was I calling
Oh,
it? A swizzle
I
or
can't
something?
a swizzle, I think. I was like, Mom, it's stizzy. Mom, it's just you could just say a pen, it's fine. Like
Okay. Are more people, do a lot of people potheads? I mean,
I'm
when
gonna
I
be
was
real
in
with
high school,
you.
a lot of people were potheads
I'm gonna
already.
be real with you. If you meet somebody, it's more likely they are a pothead than they aren't. Which it weed, I would say, is what even more normalized than alcohol. I don't think I know anybody that doesn't at least smoke occasionally. Like, I don't know. I just it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Like pretty much everybody smokes at this point. I will say that.
It's so concerning to me because, well, I don't love it.
Yeah.
I grew up around a pothead and I don't like the idea of somebody not being on my level.
Yeah. That's
But for me,
understandable.
smoking pot was always, even though I was a big old alkie, smoking pot was always so much more like I'm going to be very altered. I'm not going to be able to follow conversations. If I try to watch
Yeah.
a movie, I'm going to forget what's happening in the middle. Like that had to be,
Yeah.
and I didn't like it.
I mean, that's my thing. I think like specifically with weed, I have a pretty low tolerance. And also, I feel like it's also a way thinner line for me from alcohol. Like, obviously, alcohol within a couple shots, like you're going to go from like feeling good to feeling actually out of your body. But I feel like with weed, it's literally the difference of like one extra, like you take one extra hit of a pen, like you go from being like, okay, this is good to like where the fuck am I? What am I doing? Like, you know, which makes me paranoid. I don't smoke a lot of weed at all because it just honestly either makes me really tired and like I will just get shut down and nonverbal and I'm like, it's time for bed and it's like 9 p.m. Or or it's like the opposite and it makes me really paranoid, especially because I think I've also had some really bad experiences with it to the point where now if I try to, I'm like, oh God, okay, like is it gonna be the same thing as last time? Like I can't have it. I can't like be on the verge of like dissociating and seeing in third person again from like two hits of somebody's pen. Like I can't do that. But
When you tell
definitely
people that you're that like, "Oh, I don't really love pop because it makes me feel," do you get like people going like, "Oh, yeah, but you haven't tried this stuff that I have?"
see, honestly, funny enough, not really. Like it's funny because everybody smokes pretty much. Like I would say like the majority of people I know, but also everybody I feel like is very understanding of people that don't. Like I've had people offer all the time. They'll just like try to hand it to me and I'm like, "Oh, I'm good. Sorry." I'm like, I don't want to like smoke, especially if I've already drank. Horrible combination for me. I've already told you this, but like the worst experiences I've had from smoking are when I was already drinking and I took like one singular hit and I was like, "Oh my God, I feel disgusting. Like this is terrible. Like I'm gonna die." So like people I usually just joke and I'm like, "Nah, like it's gonna fuck me up." And they're like, "You're good." Like understandable, it's fine. You know? Like no, I feel like there's not a lot of peer pressure when it comes to weed, if that makes sense.
So with alcohol, you start college. Was the culture a lot different? I know you joined a sorority. I was concerned
Yeah.
about drinking culture with fraternities and sororities. I've had some bad
Yeah.
experiences myself. Tell me about like the culture with that.
It's interesting because I was kind of going into it, especially as a transfer, I was unsure because I was like, I know all of these freshmen are gonna be like wild out of control. Like they're in college. A lot of people are like escaping their, really strict parents and they're like ready to go. Like, I don't got anybody at home telling me be at home by 10 o'clock. Like I can be home whenever I want because I live by myself. So I knew that like freshman would be like that, but I wasn't 100% sure how it would be as a transfer because I was going to be surrounded by more juniors who I feel like would still be drinking a lot, but I was unsure of whether it would be more tame. But I think being a transfer, it was a very specific experience because it's kind of just being like an older freshman. Like a lot of the transfers were all like, okay, like let's get this party started. But I don't know. I feel like as a junior, I've definitely heard stories from freshmen that I know of it being like way crazier than anything I've even seen. But I will say I did see most of like that freshman side from my sorority because I was obviously in the like PC, the pledge class. I don't know why they call it a PC for sororities because that's for frats, but whatever. We move on. I was in the new PC, which was me, a couple transfers that became like my main friend group, and then a bunch of freshmen, like 50 freshman girls. So I feel like I didn't go out in my sorority very much. I feel like I did most of my like going to events in fall quarter, but I never really got that drunk at like most. Obviously, there's been a few that I was like, which I'll obviously go into, but like for the most part at my sorority events, I was never getting that hammered because it was me mostly hanging out with the other girls. I was not hanging out with like a lot of guys because it's mostly freshman guys that go to these like specific PC like sorority events because it's meant for the new girls. But I would be surrounded just by these girls that were like hammered. And what I didn't know is that sororities love to do shit middle of the week. Like I would get a text in the group me from my sorority and it would be like a Wednesday night and they'd be like, "Hey guys," like the frats would be like, "Hello, ladies of sorority. Who's ready to get turned on this lovely Wednesday night? We're having a champagne and shackles. Get ready to get shackled to somebody from our frat and like finish a bottle of champagne, and then there's gonna be more alcohol for you." Like it would be like a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and then in college specifically, and like I know at a lot of other schools, instead of Fridays, people go out on Thursdays now and Fridays, but Thursday is the new Friday. So, like, my local college bar does Thirsty Thursdays, and so everybody's getting, if they're in Greek life, they're getting fucked up on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then they're going out Thursday, and then you're probably going to the frats on Friday, and then you're going back out Saturday. Like, I was not used to that
So
from
how
high
do
school.
people like control it? Because I mean, you know, how do people learn to like their limits, especially when you're young and it's such a party atmosphere? And I know you've told me stories,
Yeah.
a lot of stories about almost every event having something to do with alcohol or some kind of at least
Yeah.
offering it to you. I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, are people like, oh, I can't, I have a test in the morning or
I mean, I think maybe just because I have had a lot of times people being like, like, yeah, I'm not gonna go because I have an exam tomorrow and I don't wanna be out, or like, I'm not gonna drink too much. But like, as like silly as it sounds, I think a majority of people get it out of their system in like freshman year, which is still shitty. Like, I think you should still be like working hard in your freshman year, but like I think a lot of the times people go a little crazy in freshman year and then they realize and then they're like, "Ooh, like I kind of like was drinking every single weekend." And like a lot of people just get tired of it. Like I talk to so many like seniors that I'm friends with because obviously I'm also a tour guide, so I have like friends from all different years, like all different majors. Everybody in my friend group is like very different, and I can confidently say that most of the seniors are like either not going to the events or showing up and getting like a little drunk at most of the events, and like but like showing up in their pajamas, or like just being like, yeah, I got a class in the morning, like I'm cool, I'm gonna pass on that. Whereas like the younger people, like the freshmen, are always like, yeah, I'm ready to party. Like, who's bringing the vodka? Like, anybody got chasers? Like, what are we doing? What's plots? So I feel like people kind of get out of their system and then they realize, like, okay, I'm tired. Like, I don't need to be going out 4 days a week. Like, it's exhausting. But it's hard to speak on because I obviously have friends at other schools that are like major party schools. Like, you not even really considered a crazy party school. I have friends that go to schools in like, you know, I don't even have any examples, just friends that will be like, "Oh, your frats like don't throw on some weekends, like finals week." It's like, "Oh, we have plans, like solid plans that we can go to Monday through Sunday." And I'm like, "What?" Like I don't understand how I still would not be able to do that. I don't understand how people do that, honestly.
so do you see like, are there people, not necessarily like close to you, but people that you see or that you know or acquaintances that like that you can see a budding alcohol problem?
For sure. 100%. And it's kind of one of those things where again, it's not any of my like direct people that I know,
Mhm.
because I probably would have flagged that even sooner. But there are people that like know my friends that I've like been around and like partied around and seen, where it's kind of the same thing in high school. I'm like, this person, these people are getting like blacked out at every single function. They are like throwing up after everything. And again, that doesn't go to say like I've obviously had horrible nights where I'm like, oh my God, like I feel so sick in the morning or whatever. Cause my hangovers be shitty sometimes. Like I wake up and I'm like, I didn't even drink that much. Like, why do I feel so gross? But I have people that are like, don't remember any of their night, like most nights, almost every time we go out, even if it's like a chill time and like we're not even doing that much, there will be people that are like throwing up, blacking out, like just drinking a lot, like, and it's kind of hard because they're people that I'm not that close to, so I can't really be like, hey, so and so. Like, I'm a little concerned for the amount that you are drinking, like it's like such a weird subject to people that you're not like close with at all. But it's
Yeah.
like stuff that I'm like witnessing where I'm like, this person, I don't think, regardless of whatever terrible nights they've had, like they don't know their limits at all. And it's like apparent for sure.
Do you think that having a mom who's in recovery uh makes you more cautious about your own drinking, or do you think you feel like it doesn't, I mean, it's
It definitely makes me more cautious. Like it makes me more aware, especially when I have a bad night. I'm like, "Oh, like I know that that's not as normal, if that makes sense, because some people will be like, I don't remember my entire night. I don't remember getting in the Uber on the way to the club. I don't remember being in the club. I don't remember getting kicked out of the club. I don't remember leaving the club, like and like even if I have a night where I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't remember like 45 minutes of like what I was or like that was like very fuzzy." Like I know, like I clock it in my mind where I'm like, "Oh, that thank God that that's not happening every time because I shouldn't be having so much that I'm like not remembering anything, like every single night." And I hate not remembering. That is the worst because I have the worst anxiety in the entire universe. I will drink and I will remember my entire night top to bottom, and I will still wake up being like, okay, I didn't do anything. I didn't text anybody dumb, right? And I'll go through my phone, and obviously I didn't text anybody or post anything, but I will still wake up being like, okay, I know I talked to this person, but did I say anything stupid because I was drunk and just didn't really care what I was saying? So like I just know, I think from having a parent that's like sober, that it's like should not be blacking out every single time I drink. Like that's normal. Cause again, in college, people kind of like will have a full blackout and they'll be like, like that was so funny. Like I don't remember anything I did. And like sure, if that happens every once in a while, you're like, oh God, like that sucks, but like whatever. But there will be some people that are not remembering entire weekends and being like, that's so funny. Like it was a good weekend when you don't remember a single second of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'm like, no, actually, like that should not be happening, babe.
right,
Like
right, right.
we should be able to go out and have like a couple drinks and have fun and not have to literally not remember a single second to know that we had a fun night. You know what I mean?
Yes. What's the worst? I feel like there's been two for you, two bad drinking
Two
nights,
bad drinking nights in
which
college.
I've got to say though, I mean, and maybe there's more that you didn't tell me about, because one of them I knew about because I witnessed it in the morning.
Yes, that was low point for me for sure. I could talk about both. I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had a couple. What do you want me to say? Just tell the.
Yeah, it's interesting because hold on. Hold on a second. I'm interviewing Elby, our daughter. Okay.
Who was
Our
that?
dog needed to go out.
Oh,
Our dog. I don't know if you know Peepo.
people?
Um,
I don't. I
okay.
don't recall. No.
The thing is, I picked you up and you were really hungover, and I want to hear like from your perspective, because like there was no judgment from me at all.
Of
I mean,
course.
it's the amount of times that you've had a bad experience with alcohol is like one billionth of the times that I've had a bad experience with alcohol. So like I am nobody to judge, and I was hoping to like help you out and
Yeah.
but yeah, that it seemed like a bad time.
Yeah. I mean, that was like the worst morning I've ever experienced. For anybody wondering, I went to, this was, of course, no shade. I would never say what sorority I'm in because it's not their fault. But I was with my sorority at the time, and we were having an event with a frat. And I went to this event. It was like it wasn't a date party. It was just like a little thing where you have like the sororities have a specific event where you go to a venue and it's just with one frat. Like it's like with the two of them. I think it was a pinning where like one person from the sorority is like dating somebody from another frat. So they do like a little like kind of fake wedding type beat, but except the girl is in red. Doesn't matter. Unimportant. You go to a venue with another frat. And the frat that we went to happened to be the frat of my first little boo thing, who ended up being a total dickhead, but we won't talk about that. Anyways, he was there, and I think he either was still hitting on me or felt sorry for being a dick to me. So he was like, "Hey, I'll buy you drinks. Don't worry. I'll buy you alcohol." And I was like, "Okay, cool." I'd already had a little before I was leaving, but barely any because I knew I was going to be drinking there. Obviously, I wasn't planning on drinking a lot there because I was like, I have work in the morning. Don't do that, you know? So I had like a little because I just knew it was going to be a minute before we even went to the venue. We were going to the house first because we had to do a whole thing. So I was like, whatever. Wasn't expecting there to be alcohol at the house. There was. So all my friends were at the house, and I was like, okay, I'll have like a tiny bit. Still was not that drunk at all when we get to the venue. But this guy is like buying me drink after drink after drink. And I'm like, oh, like whatever, it's funny. I'll take one, I'll take one, I'll take one, like blah, 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 blah. And then you get to the point where you are drunk enough to where you don't think you're going to be too drunk if you take another shot. But then that's
That's
like
my
the,
problem.
yeah, I was going to say, I usually don't get to that point. My problem is when I get too drunk, it's because I drank them too fast, you know? So like I'm usually not so drunk that I'm like taking another one. It's usually because I fucked up and paced myself wrong and was like not drunk at all or like a little tipsy, and then I took a few, and then suddenly I'm like, "Oh my God." Like 20 minutes later, I'm like going from tipsy to like really drunk, you know? Like my thing is not normally like, hmm, drink, 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 and then you just keep going. Like, but this one was like I drank quite a bit and then I was drunk, but not like ridiculous. And then I was like, all of a sudden, boom, like I'm like fucked up beyond anything. Like I don't remember. The last thing I remember was being at the venue. And then I woke up the next morning with a bag hanging on my bed from my roommates who barged into my room, and they were like, I woke up and I was like, what the fuck? And I knew something was bad when my roommate goes, Elby, are you okay? Like, are you good? And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, do you not like remember anything that happened? And I was like, wait, what the fuck? My other roommate then barges into my room and goes, Elby, your mom is like frantically texting me right now. You have work. And I was like, oh my God. I like shoot up in my bed feeling absolutely disgusting. I have never been this hungover in my entire life. I am so nauseous. There's like throw up like on my shirt because they couldn't get it off me. They wanted to get me in my bed. And they were like, you need to shower. Like, you for sure need to shower. And I was like, why? And they were like, you threw up last night for like 3 hours straight. And I was like, sobbing. Like, I wake up like absolutely in hysterics. My phone is dead. I like text my mom. I'm like, oh my fucking God, I'm so sorry. Like, you can come get me right now. Like, my clothes are here. Like, I have my work pants, yada, yada, yada. I run through the shower. I don't even have time to dry my hair. I just put it up in a little claw clip and pray that it looks. I dried my bangs actually so that something looked dry. And then my roommates meanwhile are recapping me, and they're kind of like laughing at this point, because not because they're like thinking it's nothing, but because they're just like relieved that I'm like awake and like functioning, and that I just kind of feel sick, like whatever. But they were like, yeah, this random freshman boy from the frat had to like walked you back to the bus to come back to, and then walked you home, but you didn't really know where you lived. You just kept saying, I live near In and Out. I live near In and Out. Didn't know where to go from there. So we were calling your phone, which is at like 2%, which I had no idea. And they were like, thank God he picked up your phone and was like, hello. And we were like, who the fuck is this? He was like, this is blah, blah, blah from frat. I'm on Gailey right now, like. And they were like, okay, are you like in front of the stairs? And he was like, yeah, she keeps saying she lives near In and Out, but she doesn't know where to go. So my roommates came down, got me. Thank God this was like the nicest person I ever could have gotten left with as this frat. He was the like sweetest freshman boy ever, zero ill intentions. He came with my roommates to make sure I was okay. He was like, I'm going to come up and make sure she's good so I can like go home knowing she's okay. So he like came up to my apartment with my roommates, sat, asked them if I needed anything. And they were like, she's our roommate. Don't worry about it. Like, you can go, like, whatever. And he was like, okay, just making sure. So nice to me after that, by the way. That was probably part of the best case scenario, is he was a really nice guy. Could have gone a way different route, which is terrible. But I ended up having to go to work hungover as shit. It was terrible. And that was like my worst night because I didn't remember anything. Like I said, last thing I remembered was being at the bar talking to the guy who fucked me over because he kept buying me 8 billion shots like over and over again. And they were tequila, and I don't even like tequila. That's the worst part. I fucking hate tequila.
Two questions. One is, uh, I mean, as a mom of college age child and soon to be college age kids, I'm so worried about this, like, like roofie culture. Like, it
Yeah,
happens a lot. So how do you guys protect yourselves against that? Because that, like, that kind of situation, you
yeah,
might have been drugged, or you could get drugged. Or I remember
yeah.
texting you an article when you'd first started school about that at on the campus, a couple
There
of
was,
drugging incidents had happened.
yeah. I mean, the scary part that I'll say is like a lot of my friends, like, even though I've told them the situation, still think I did get drugged, because I literally told them, like, I don't think I drank, like, not that I should be like bragging about this to you, but like, I'm not a lightweight. Like, I can handle, like, especially if I had eaten, I can handle like a very solid amount of alcohol without getting like really fucked up, Like, and like, that's not to say that I'm like downing 12 shots every time I go out, because that would still have me crazy. But like, I know that if I have two or three, I'm not gonna be like sloshed, Like, I know that I'm still gonna be very much good, functional, feeling good, you know? Whereas like, I have some friends that will take two and they're like out of commission for like 3 hours, So my friends were like confused because I had eaten a big dinner before I went out. Like, I made sure that I ate. I had like, I can't remember. I think I probably DoorDash something because I'm a lazy bitch. But I sue me. But I, ordered a fat dinner, ate the whole thing, and my roommates were there. They saw me have like, I didn't even take a shot before I went out. I think I made myself a drink while I was getting ready. So I was like not really feeling it. And then I was with one of my roommates at my sorority house before. She also saw, because she remembered, she was like, You barely drank anything at the apartment. You barely drank anything at Kappa. Oops.
I'll edit it.
Okay. You barely drank anything at Censored. Um, and she was like, and I, from what I saw, because she left a little bit early, but I was like pretty blacked out, like very soon after she left. She was like, I was watching you at the venue, not because you were with, I mean, not because you were drinking too much, but because you were with Mr. Shithead and I wanted to see what he wanted from you. But she was like, I didn't even see you drink that much when you were with him. So, I mean, that situation is also scary because it is kind of hard to tell. Like, I don't remember drinking that much while I was there, and suddenly I was didn't remember anything. So a lot of my roommates and like a lot of my friends do think I possibly did get roofied, which is like the worst because I remember it was really scary. I woke up the next morning and my roommates were like, we need to like Google symptoms of like getting roofied because like I don't think you drank enough to be blacked out for hours at a time and be throwing up for 4 hours and waking up. Like I was sick all day, all day. Like you saw, my mom brought me McDonald's. Shout out. Well, I left work early and I came and sat in my bed and ate McDonald's and slept for like 5 hours to try to sleep it off. But they were like, yeah, the symptoms of like getting roofied is you black out like pretty much instantly and then you wake up with like the worst hangover of your life, which was that. So I was like, it's kind of hard to say whether I did just like take too many shots and wouldn't know, or if I did like get something put in my drink because I was with a shitty frat, you know? So like it's kind of hard to tell, which is scary. And that was also one of the only situations I noticed where I wasn't around a lot of girls that I know, if that makes sense. Because my roommate, not her fault at all, by the way. Not that I'm even saying who it is, but not her fault at all. She left early because she just like was not feeling great. And like there were other girls I was friends with there. So I think she assumed like, obviously, I'm not gonna like go crazy. I think this was like worst case scenario. And she felt so bad that she'd left. But I think that was one of the scenarios where I was not with a ton of people that I'm like comfortable with and like know where I live. Like nobody else there really knew where I lived, which was the problem. But I think to like protect myself and kind of like stay out of those scenarios, 99% of the time I go out with people. Usually I don't like to go out with to frats when I or with frats. When I do go to frats, I am with my friends the entire time. And I'm also usually, thankfully, I feel like we've avoided this a little bit. Frats these days, at least I can say, don't really have a lot of hard liquor. It's all pretty much beer or seltzers, which are a lot harder to roofie. But I usually don't ever put something down. If I do, it's usually because I'm not going to finish it, you know? Like I never put down like an old seltzer that I'm drinking to like come back to it. I always hold it right here or right here. I'm never holding it like this,
It's so
you
sad that we
know.
even have to think that way.
I know. It's shitty, but like if I'm ever like drinking like a drink that like would have been able to really like get, drugged, it's usually at my apartment with my closest girlfriends and whoever's over that's pre-gaming, which is 95% also just a bunch of girls. We
Yeah.
never really have too many guys in my apartment. But I think in LA at least, which I think this can apply to some other schools that aren't as much like I feel like Westwood is a college town, but also is very much like instead of going to frats every weekend, you go to frats maybe for a day and then you go to a club or like a bar. And I feel like those are a lot easier to have somebody put something in your drink because you are drinking like mixed drinks. But I'm very thankful that me and a lot of my friends all have the same mindset where we always go to the bathroom with like more than one person. Like we never go to the bathroom alone, but we also never leave the table by ourselves. So like if we are drinking something and we want to stay at the table, we will just make sure one or two people stay and watch our drinks on the table if we can't bring them. and then to whoever else goes to the bathroom. Or if we're all are leaving the table, we either take our drinks with us or we leave them knowing that we are not going to come back to them, you know?
Yeah.
So like it's very like that situation was obviously like a scary one because like I said, it was one of the ones where I wasn't sure. Like there was not that many people that I knew, so it was a lot easier for me to like get in that situation. And I think since then I've also gotten my like not really put myself in situations at all where that could happen.
Let me ask
But
you one more thing, which is, so you have, through the years, you have social anxiety. I can say
yes.
that.
Yes, of
Um,
course.
Not your
I've
fault. Biological,
no shame in
same.
the game, girl.
No, no, no. You've done a lot of work around it. You've had
Yeah,
therapy.
totally.
You've gotten a lot better, but you still have it. And I've always
Yeah.
worried a little bit as a mom, you know, because a lot of people drink to ease anxiety. That's,
Yeah.
and even before you started drinking, it was like a concern of mine that you would drink and then go like, "Oh my God, I don't feel anxious in a social situation because I'm having a
Yeah.
drink." Does that, like, how have you been aware of, because how do I put this? I have noticed that you don't seem to rely on alcohol as a crutch in those situations, and that you do try to push through situations which make you uncomfortable to get the practice of like,
Yeah,
and you don't seem to
totally.
have a lot of problems being in social situations. But have you found it difficult to not always drink in a situation that makes you uncomfortable?
I don't think so. I mean, it's definitely like a case by case basis. Like there are definitely people that are like before everything like I need to drink, I need to drink, I need to drink. And I won't say that I've never been in a situation where I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna like make myself a little drinky before we go to this because I'm low key really scared and I don't know anybody or whatever." Like I'm not gonna be somebody that's like, I've never done that. But I will say, like, in most scenarios, I think just because I know I have anxiety, so it kind of makes me a little more hyper aware of like, I know that I would be more susceptible to wanting to drink before a social function because I'm like an anxious person. But I think I make myself do stuff that I don't like to do or that I'm not comfortable with without alcohol so that I know that I can be fine without alcohol because then it makes me want to do it less. Like cuz there are a lot of nights too, like as much as I have drank in college, there are also a lot of nights where we'll be doing something and I'm just like I'm so down to go out, but like I do not feel like drinking. Like I just don't want to. But I feel like if I were a more like person that relied on alcohol to be anxious, I feel like I would it's good that I don't force myself to drink just because I don't want to feel anxious.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, like
Yeah, it
I
does.
like being able to be like I don't want to drink and like I know I don't have to have fun. And obviously there are some nights where I'm the only one that's sober and I'm like I would love to be drunk right now. Like everybody looks like they're having a great time and I'm like not having the best time. But on the flip side of that, there are also a lot of times where somebody will get too drunk and I'm sober and I'm like, first of all, I'm having a great time without being sober. Like there are plenty of nights where I'm like, I'm having a great time. I'm sipping on my little Sprite, you know, I'm so happy that I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning feeling fresh and like not worried if I texted somebody that I shouldn't be texting. And then on top of that, I know that I'm like a overall responsible person, so I'm happy that I've been the sober one in a lot of situations where somebody needs to be taken care of and I'll be in my head being like, I am so glad that this is not me right now. Like I'm so glad that I'm here to make sure that they're good. Like I'm there's been a ton of situations, you know which one I'm referencing probably, but I won't share where I last minute decided I don't feel like drinking and I ended up having a car which was very necessary in some of these situations where I needed to end up driving people home that would have had to call an Uber, and I don't think I would have felt safe sending them in an Uber. Or I've been in situations where I had to Uber home with somebody because I was sober, but I didn't drink because there was no parking. Like we went to a club and I was just like, ugh. And I've had friends who ended up getting so drunk that they can't even go in because they have to go home, or they're like feeling like shit inside the club and I'm sober and, kind of good with my night already, and I'm like, "Here, I don't want you to get an Uber by yourself. Let me come with you and like make sure that you're okay and take care of you." And again, like I said, I am just like always, more than anything, there has never been a night, I don't think, where I was like, I'm so thankful that I was drunk, Like, even in situations where I knew I would be uncomfortable, if that makes sense. I don't think there's ever been a time where I went to something feeling uncomfortable and then I was like, "Damn, I really should have had a couple drinks before I went out." But there has always been nights where I'm like, "I'm really thankful I didn't drink," which like
See,
I try to keep in mind.
it seems to me, in a positive way, your I sound so old going, your generation, but it seems like a lot of times when you go out, there seems to be at least a few people that you're like, "Oh, so and so didn't drink at all. Like
Oh,
that person drove
100%.
me because they didn't drink tonight."
Yeah, and like I feel very lucky because I feel like the people I surround myself with, like all my friends, all my roommates for sure, a lot of my college friends, like my direct friends, pretty much 95% of the time are very responsible. Like, of course, all of my friends have had their nights where we all have to take turns taking care of each other. I feel like, unfortunately, that is normal. Like, that's college. But I feel lucky that, like, a lot of my friend group is very responsible. And, like, I think they all have a very similar mindset to me where they're like, sometimes they're like, I don't feel like it. Like, I'll drive. You know what? I'll drive. I'll do this. Like, I'll stay sober. Like, I think I'm just gonna have one drink. I'm not gonna drink there, like whatever. I feel like a lot of people I know are in that mindset, which is very refreshing because then everybody feels safe and they're like, there is gonna be somebody here who like could drive me home or could take care of me, or or whatever. It's nice.
Well,
And I
that's
definitely think it's common with my age group at this point.
yeah. Your age group, which by the way, is you're only 20. You're not actually even legal to
Well,
drink yet. I mean,
mm,
not according to your ID, obviously. LB,
I have the worst fake ID in human. I just want to say before I go that I showed my fake to somebody the other day and they were like, "Oh, what the girl?"
it fools me.
They were like, "Well, you're not a bouncer, babe."
Yeah.
They were like, "You get in places with this," and I'm like, "Well,
It scans, right?
it does." I'm like, I just like walk in and give them the like little hi, and also I'm with the promoters, so they kind of just assume I'm not 21 anyways.
LB, thank you for being here. Thank you for being in your bedroom,
Of
zooming with. Thank you for
course.
making the time. I love
Gonna go
you.
walk down the hall in like 2 seconds to say hey, but love you.
Thanks, everybody. Hope you learned something. I did. All
Yay.
right. Bye.
Bye.
Life is good, life is good, yeah. Life is good,